How do you prepare your residential Starlink for a big RV trip? And what are the differences between residential service and the RV service? All that coming up. Step 1 to prepare your residential Starlink for an RV trip is to enable portability if you haven't already. You'll need to do this in your online account. It's not something you can change in the app. Then, before you move it, go into Settings in the app and select Stow. This will put the dish in a safe position to transport. So what are the differences between Starlink Residential and Starlink for RVs? Well, let's start with the things that are the same. If you have Starlink Residential with portability enabled, it's the exact same hardware and the exact same price. In fact, there are only two real differences. One, with residential service, you get higher priority and faster speeds when you're at your registered address. And two, when you have the RV service, you can turn the service on and off on a month-by-month basis, where with residential, you don't have that option. One tricky thing with Starlink is cable management. So what I'm going to try and do is put the cable in right here through the slide seal. It's apparently easier said than done. All right, can you go more like under the slide? I can see to the outside.
I don't know where you're talking about.
But yeah, I can see to the outdoors. Hold on, let me try and get something and poke it through. All right, I'm putting a twist tie through. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you're able to put the cord up through there? Oh, I see something. Hold on. It's through. It made it. So we had to bring in the big guns. That was not nearly as easy as I thought. People on the internet, I saw them just, passing it through the slide, but yeah, we just have a very, very small space that it can go through, so...
I think we need to go with a window.
Especially for like quick setup and takedown, because it's just, it could take a little while.
Yeah, and we could damage our slide seals, like going in and out all the time, so...
Or worse yet, we could damage the cable, which is a very expensive cable and it's proprietary, so... It's actually making me think that I might want to do the Ethernet modification that I've seen a lot of people do that transforms their Starlink cable into just a regular Ethernet cable. And at that point, you can just use any old Ethernet cable, and if you wreck one, you buy another one for $5. So anyways, that's a good lesson for all of you out there. It might not be as easy to route the cable inside your trailer as you think it might be. Now that we have the cable inside the trailer, it's easy peasy. Just gotta plug in dishy, then plug in the power cord, of course. Got our little light on the bottom. For those of you that don't know, that's the only indication that the router is working. These are not lights, they're just graphics. Now I'm just loading up the app and I can hear the dish moving up there, so it's definitely doing something. And remember, when you first plug it in, you really have to be patient. It can take a while to just get its bearings, figure out where the satellites are, and start getting internet. You're not just going to instantly have 200 megabit internet like that. It's going to slowly figure things out, and the speed will increase over time. In fact, just in the time that I was saying that, we are now online. So it didn't really take long at all. Now, we've got a pretty good view to the southern sky here. Not a whole lot of obstructions, so I think we're going to get fairly decent signal with the dish up on the top of the trailer here. Yeah, so just like minutes after connecting, I'm going to do a speed test. It's not bad. I'm already seeing 50, 55, 52, 51. To give you an idea, our home internet is about 25 megabit, and that's plenty fast enough for most of what we do. And I'm going to do an advanced test. Yeah, now I'm seeing already upwards of 100 megabit. And just remember, it's going to go up and down as conditions change, as different people on the Starlink network go on and off. It's a highly variable thing. You're not going to get consistent speeds all the time. But yeah, this is the great thing about Starlink. You can put the dish up there, get the cable into your trailer, that's like the hardest part, turn it on, wait like 5 minutes, and most likely if you don't have a lot of obstructions, you're gonna have pretty good internet pretty fast. So a big question for everyone is how much power is Starlink going to use? So I've turned off all the lights, that's why it's so dark. I've turned off our solar, I've turned off our converter, so there's nothing charging. It's going straight off battery right now, and I'm seeing between 45 to 55 watts right now. It's going as high as 70 sometimes, and I think it's going to use more power during this initial phase where it's kind of orienting itself, it's looking for obstructions, and I've also heard that it uses more power if you're uploading. So I've actually got the app here. I'm going to try and do a speed test and see if that affects the power usage. Hanging around 50 watts right now, starting the speed test. A speed test will transfer enough data to see if there's a difference in power usage. Yeah, so I think what I've read is true, that the more you're using Starlink and the more that you're transferring, the higher the power usage is going to be. But it looks like idle is round about 40 to 50 watts, and high usage is probably upwards of 70 or 80 watts. So with our 200 amp hour battery, it's estimating that we could run Starlink and nothing else for about 44 hours at idle. This seems pretty good actually, because we've got 400 watts of solar power, and before Starlink, we always had way more power than we could have ever used. So I think now with Starlink, we'll be a little closer to using most of what we have. So I'm gonna leave Starlink running like this with the batteries not being charged and just do kind of like a rundown test and see if that estimate is actually right. We are going on a super quick trip to the United States today because we've got some things to pick up.
Yes, we're going to be stopping at Ship Happens.
And Ship Happens is a virtual address shipping company. They give you an address that you can ship things from the United States to there and then go and pick them up, because some places don't actually ship to Canada. And one of those things is the Starlink pole. Putting Starlink up on the roof of the trailer is okay, but we're going to take it a level up. We're going to have a pole that lets us put it up without even climbing the ladder, which will make Mel very happy because she doesn't really like me climbing up on the roof all the time. So let's go. Well, that was fast. I think we spent less than 30 minutes in the States, including the time waiting in line to re-enter Canada.
Also with the flagpole that we bought today for the Starlink, here's a little sneak peek. We're going to Baja, and we just picked up the Road and Recreation Atlas that we ordered online. It lists all of the campgrounds, RV parks, natural wonders, points of interest. Yeah, we're really excited to start planning that trip. So let the planning begin.
All right, we're back with our flagpole buddy. Smaller than I thought it would be. So we've got our flagpole buddy 2.0. This is something I've been seeing in the Facebook groups a lot. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but it looks really cool, so we're gonna see how it works. The box comes with the adapter connector things that go on your ladder, 2 very lightweight aluminum poles, a custom Starlink adapter, which appears to be 3D printed. So yeah, here are the instructions. So first I have to install the mounts on the ladder. So it says the mounts should be about 6 feet apart. Step 1, install the twist mount and cap on the left side of the ladder. Don't tighten the screws. Step 2, install the cup mount on the same side of the ladder. Note that you're also going to need something to tighten these nuts that go into here. Luckily I have this little screwdriver set that works. Then you've got to install the pole. The objective is for you to be able to insert the pole from ground level without climbing the ladder. Well, that sounds like a good plan. Okay, that worked. That's pretty simple. Yeah, so then when you put the pole in, then you can tighten all the screws. That sounds fairly easy. So before I put the actual dish up on our new pole, gonna check in on our power rundown situation. I'm showing 44%, which is probably the lowest I've ever seen our battery. So Starlink is definitely gonna change how we manage power. We're gonna go from never even thinking about it and having way more than we need to actually thinking about it and maybe having to turn off Starlink at night when we're sleeping, or at least keep a pretty good eye on it depending on how much solar we get that day. So if you have a system at all similar to ours, we've got a 200 amp hour lithium battery and 400 watts of solar power. That's probably going to be lots enough to run Starlink as long as you're power conscious. If you have a lot less than that, well, you might have to be more power conscious. And of course, we bring a generator along with us too, just in case. So the sun has come out, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to switch our solar back on and get us charging again. So I have to say, the people on the Starlink Facebook groups were totally right. This is a dead easy solution. So here's what it looks like from up top. This just seems like a perfect solution. Don't have to climb up and down the ladder with the Starlink. I think we're really gonna like this. So, and one of those things...
Recreation trails, or road and recreation atlas.
And some styrofoam. I'm sure the purpose will become apparent.
Make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.